Hello everyone, I'm Lola from Afropotluck.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make oven baked chicken Scotch eggs. And for this recipe I'm going to be using raw chicken and not the sausage chicken. That means we are going to be doing everything from scratch. But if you prefer the store-bought sausage chicken, you can definitely go for it. So let's get started. For this recipe, I'm going to be using breadcrumbs, all-purpose flour, salt, chicken thighs, which I've deboned and also cut into small chunks. And I'm also going to be using some black pepper, cayenne pepper, thyme, paprika, nutmeg, 1 small onion, and 8 eggs. So the first thing I'm going to do is to boil the eggs. Simply pour some water inside the pot and carefully lower the eggs inside the pot. I'm going to be boiling 6 out of the 8 eggs, then I'm going to reserve 2 for later use. Cover this up and allow it to boil for about 6 minutes on a medium to high heat. Now the eggs are done and I'm just going to remove them from the hot water. And I'll be placing them inside a very cold water just to stop the cooking process. I added some ice cubes inside my water, but you don't necessarily have to do that. Just make sure the water you use is as cold as it can be. Once it's cooled, just peel the eggs and dry them up with a paper or a kitchen towel and set them aside. As I said earlier, the base for my Scotch eggs today is going to be the raw chicken, which I have cut into chunks and frozen for about 15 minutes so I can easily process it with my food processor. Now I'm just going to be throwing this inside the processor together with some onions. And I'm going to process this using the pulse button for a couple of times until the chicken is ground to my liking. And this is going to range from between 15 to 20 pulses or thereabouts. Once that is done, I'm going to be turning this inside a bowl. It's now time to season this chicken, and I'm going to be using paprika, cayenne pepper, nutmeg, salt to taste, black pepper to taste, and thyme. So at this point, it's time to get a little messy. I love to use my hand to mix this, but feel free to use a wooden spoon if you don't want your hand to get as messy as mine. Once that is set, we can now move on to put things together. But before we do that, I'm just going to season my all-purpose flour with a little bit of salt and a little bit of black pepper. Mix it together and set it aside. So what we want to do at this point is just to divide the chicken into 6 equal parts. Okay, that is done. And before I start wrapping the eggs, I like to wet my hand with a little bit of water to prevent the meat from sticking to the palm of my hands. Now I'm going to be taking 1 portion of the chicken at a time, flatten it out a little bit. Once that is done, place 1 boiled egg inside the meat, then carefully gather it up just like this until we are able to fully wrap the chicken around the egg. Once that is done, I'm going to coat this first in the all-purpose flour, then shake off the excess flour. Next, I'm going to be dipping this inside the egg wash, and this egg wash is just the eggs that I whisked together with 2 tablespoons of water. Finally, I'm going to be coating this in the breadcrumbs. And by the way, my breadcrumbs has been seasoned before. If yours is not, feel free to use it plain or season it by yourself the way you want it. Once you are done breading all the Scotch eggs, Simply place them over a grill tray, and you can also place them over a wire rack, but make sure you put a tray under the wire rack, and this will catch all the oils that might fall during the baking process. So the final thing I'm going to be doing before putting this in the oven is just to brush the outer part of the Scotch egg with some oil, and you can use olive oil for this or any cooking oil of your choice. Brushing the Scotch egg with this oil is going to give the Scotch egg a similar feel to that of the deep fried, but this time around a little bit of oil is used compared to the deep fried method. A very little goes a long way, so be careful. Now I'm done with this, and I'll just be taking it to a 350 degrees preheated oven, and I'll be leaving this to cook for about 35 to 40 minutes. So here we go. The Scotch eggs are all done. I'm just going to leave it for about 5 minutes to cool down, then we can see what it looks like. So this is what we have here. The crust looks really nice, and it's so similar to that of the deep fried method, but as I said earlier, we used a little bit of oil for this, and most of the oil actually dripped down during the baking process. The full ingredients for today's recipe will be on my blog at Afropotluck.com, and basically that is how to make the oven baked Scotch eggs. I hope you enjoyed spending your time with me today. Until next time, I'll talk to you shortly. Enjoy.